Did you ever have one of those days? Maybe today is that day. Maybe you're just not having a good day. And that's okay. You know, being positive and positive self-talk doesn't mean you don't have negative thoughts on occasion. It's okay. We falter. And sometimes all it takes is a little unasked for advice, or which is really just criticism, or somebody just treats us harshly. And that could trigger us into a spiral of negative self-talk, or maybe anxiety, or feelings of not being enough, just good enough, or whatever, tall enough, short enough, skinny enough. And this is part 3 in a 5-part series of how to build yourself up. Now, in part 1, I shared 5 ways to develop positive thinking. And in part 2, I talked about self-talk and affirmations. So today we're going to discover self-worth. Now, if you're a Cappuccino Cafe Club member, go inside your membership. I have a bonus episode for you called The 3 Fundamentals of Self-Kindness. Because if you're like me, you were probably brought up to think of others first, to be unselfish. That's the charitable thing to do, to put your own needs behind the needs of others. But true love, true charity, and true compassion means you treat yourself the same way as you treat a friend who is suffering. So that's in the Cappuccino bonus section. And if you'd like to become a Cappuccino member, click on the link in the notes for this show, or go to colleenhammond.com/club for more information. Now, if this is your first time listening to Coffee with Colleen, my name is Colleen Hammond. Welcome. I coach clients and lead workshops to develop an impactful personal brand that's strengthened by incorporating wardrobe, on-camera presence, and body language. I'm a former on-camera meteorologist for the Weather Channel, network news anchor, and Miss Michigan, and I've been helping people look and feel like $1 million for over 3 decades. And part of helping my clients grow in self-esteem is working on their confidence and their self-worth. So when you need to remind yourself of your personal worth fast, it's good to have some ideas in mind, especially when you have one of those days or somebody gives you a criticism, or you see a 1-star review of your book on Amazon or whatever. So try these quick tips to get yourself back on track, even when life seems out of control. So tip number 1, first thing you need to go into is the judgment-free zone. So, okay, your thoughts aren't what you wish they would be. You know you're kind of in a depressing cycle. Maybe your emotions are all over the place and you're starting to hit that critical mass when it comes to criticism. You already know you're not supposed to be reacting this way. So to make your awful day or awful moment, if you can catch it quick, a little bit worse, you start beating yourself up for how you're treating yourself. I shouldn't be having these negative self-talk. It's like a bad cycle. So this is the entirely wrong approach. So your first stop must be to stop the negative spiral. Drop the judgment. Just accept it's a bad day or a bad moment or a bad piece of advice that wasn't asked for. This moment doesn't define you. So first step is to get in that judgment-free zone. Get that thought firmly in mind. It's just time to let things go. So that brings us to number 2. Drop the word should. Don't should yourself. Why are we so caught up thinking about should anyway? Where did that come from? The moment you start using that particularly devilish little word, you're telling yourself what a failure you are. You just get caught up in a vortex of perfectionism. Let me define perfectionism. I can tell you, I can go on forever about that because I deal with that all the time. And you can't escape that. Should is not a helpful word. It doesn't help anybody. So just eliminate the word should from your vocabulary, whether speaking to yourself or other people. Think about, you should do this, you should do that. You don't want people saying that to you, so don't say it to yourself. Number 3, stop looking for outside validation. Anytime you start thinking someone else can give you what you need to feel good about yourself, that just ain't going to work, my friend. You're going to be disappointed. People do let you down. Even in the best of relationships, it's not healthy to use someone else as a crutch to define who you are. And this is the kind of thinking that can be dangerous. What if the person you relied on is no longer in your life? How does that impact your self-worth? Self-worth needs to come from inside yourself. That's where we get self-worth from. I've got more videos I've done on that on my YouTube page, so check the link in my notes for the YouTube. Number 4, let's just resolve the past, shall we? It's time to separate actions from yourself, because when you make a mistake, acknowledge it and then move on. If you get caught up in shame or guilt over and over and over again, there's that initial shame or guilt. Okay, I recognize I made a mistake. Now I'm going to rectify that and move on and forgive yourself. Because if you get caught up in shame and guilt over and over again, it just hurts you in the long run. And there's nothing to be gained by victimizing yourself. Forgive yourself and move on. I also did a video on my YouTube channel about memories. Memories are 20% accurate, if that. So our memories that we have of the past aren't even accurate. So we can't even trust our memories. So check out that video too. Number 5, know where you excel. Know what you're good at. For a super quick fix to self-worth, just take a moment and list off all the things that you do that you excel at. I don't care how long or short the list is. Do you have good handwriting? Did you used to have good handwriting? Did you used to be a hopscotch expert? I don't care what it is. Just acknowledge everything you've ever accomplished in your life. And when you examine all of the things which make you proud, that should give you right there a solid reminder. You indeed are worthy, my friend. So by paying attention to these 5 areas, you can quickly restore your self-worth. The key is to be alert and move quickly to head off any negative thoughts before they start undoing all the hard work you've already put into yourself, and before they take a moment in time and stretch it out into an entire day, a week, a month, a year. Think back how many things you still are beating yourself up for. Chances are you're the only one that's remembering that. Treat yourself like you would treat a 7-year-old child. Would you continue to remind that child for the rest of their life the one tiny mistake they made when they didn't know better or when they made a mistake? If you're going to treat a child better than you treat yourself, then recognize that and make a change. So which one of these 5 tips are you going to work on today? Don't try to do everything all at once. I think the first step for me is to identify the negative thought as soon as it happens, and then use some of the steps we gave you in parts 1 and part 2 to help reframe that and turn it into a different direction. Okay? All right. Next time, I'm going to share the 3 W's that are necessary to achieve any goal. I'll see you then.